So I started the Christmas book hunt, and I was immediately hit with disappointment, and that kind of sucks. Last year, the book I vlogged for Christmas was The Christmas Bookshop, also by Jenny Colgan, and that started out with the heroine on a stroke of bad luck and in a conversation with her mum that's not really going great. Her relationship with her family has friction, and it's like, oh, this is the same opening. It's kind of mean. It's not the same, but it's so similar that I don't know. It feels like treading old ground. I love her books, and I don't know. I think it's just very hard to talk about because Violet has cancer, which is not nice. But reading about like a grandparent aged person in a home is a little bit unpleasant at this current moment for me. No, you completely took me by surprise. I spent last time talking about the ways that it was similar to the Christmas Bookshop, so I think I should talk a little bit about how it's not. I really like Legends and Lattes for its renovation and for like the focus on actually improving the place. And I guess I was a little bit disappointed with the Christmas Bookshop because it did that a little bit, and then it moved on to another thing, which was like her relationship with her sister, and then it moved on to another thing, which was her relationship with this guy who was in the triangle, and it wasn't bad, and it pulled everything together nicely, but it just felt like it kept moving from beat to beat to beat, and I didn't really get the bits that I enjoyed. I didn't get to stay with them, whereas this one, it's really charming in terms of like the book search. She's gone to Hay-on Wye. It is, the way that the place is described is lovely. Her and Theo meet, and the way that they talk, the kind of little banter is very bookish, and that's really enjoyable. But also Mirren keeps checking in with her great aunt, and I know this is a problem from YA that I have, but like you get like YA books where something happened to the parent, and then she would go out to solve it, to help the parent or find the parent, and then forget about the parent because here comes the love interest. And I really like that she keeps checking in with her great aunt. And for Theo, I really like that he's a little bit uneasy about spying on her, and also he is so bad at the deception, because misunderstandings can be interesting, they can be tense, they can be funny, but he is just laying it all out on the table, and I think that's really great. I'm not saying that, you know, more kind of antiquarian sailors aren't more grumpy, but it just feels a little bit, not quite mean, but like the banter remains excellent. I really like these two, and I am so looking forward to when it all comes crashing down. Okay, I was very tired, and I forgot to say that there was a really lovely breakthrough moment, and I really love that we're off to Scotland. I was actually really surprised that we didn't start there. Not that, you know, you as a Scottish author have to be confined to Scotland. Having read to 60-something% now, we had a very lovely moment of tension of, he knows he's going to betray her, he is trying to do a decent thing, and also trying to convince himself to justify it to himself, because he knows it's a bad thing and he doesn't want to do it, and he doesn't want to face it. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I really love that that their conflicting motivations is the same. It's family, which I think is a great touch. So there's a fantastic little cutaway. But like I keep saying, the first book of hers I read had a lot of elements going, and I am a little bit worried that this is going to add in something that might tip the balance. But I do really like it. I would have really liked it if it were just Maren and Theo, but this has a little spark of adventure that just feels really good. So I did wonder, I have talked a little bit about last year's vlog, which was the Christmas bookshop, and I did think to myself that's quite a similar title, and also for it to start the way it did, very similar, very similar. We have a crossover event, which is really quite nice and not disruptive to people who wouldn't have read it, except maybe in the sense of like, oh wow, that's quite a few named characters coming in all of a sudden. I mean, I want to say I like it, but did McCready not have any teeth the last time we saw him? I'm kind of worried. But I think the jig might be starting to be up for Theo, and that's very interesting. Good, very early morning I finished it, and I think it did it. I think it did well. I will not spoil it, but I will say towards the end I thought it would end without having found the book, which, given the season, I think could have been a bold choice. I think it did the best choice. It took the best choice and ran with it and pulled it off admirably. I think there's only one thing that I didn't really enjoy about it, and that was how quickly she not necessarily forgave Theo, but there was a reconciliation, let's say, and I know it left the two in a much more concrete position than I think necessarily was warranted. I think it was the most rushed, or perhaps the least developed. I'm not opposed to either reconciliation or a relationship or parting. I just think that sure was a speed. That sure was a speed. I think as much as I really enjoyed it, and it put pretty much all of my concerns to rest, towards the end I was noticing that the very lovely descriptions of all the book towns and books in general, the love for reading that it exudes, I don't mind seeing it romanticised, but I feel like sometimes it kind of reminds me of those very pretentious people, and you're like, no, not like that, which wasn't a problem for me, and I think part of that is it's a Christmas book, and so you kind of know that kind of indulgent atmosphere is probably going to be in there. But I think if you're not in the mood for it, you would bounce off because of that, possibly. I was very happy to have found the Christmas book hunt, because I was a little bit uncertain about following on with the Christmas bookshop series, and I do think in the end I will choose not to vlog that next year, though I would like to have a physical book because that's at least a lot more interesting visually than me just sitting here and talking to you. But I would like to continue on reading other works by Jenny Colgan. Thank you for watching. I hope you have a lovely end of year. Bye.